Gregorio F. Zaide, a Filipino historian, author, politician from the town of Pagsanjan, Laguna. Contribution to the grand scheme of Philippine history. Born in May 25, 1907 and died last October 31, 1988. Filipino Grievance against Governor Wood. On November 17, 1996, the document was approved by the Commission on Independence, appointed last October 14, 1921 until August 7, 1927. The document served as an impeachment request for the Governor Wood. Zaide writes for the constitutional representative to the Filipino people. Major General Leonard Wood. After serving in Cuba, Major General Leonard Wood arrived in the Philippines island in 1903. He was appointed governor of the Metro Province, which includes the southern island of Mindanao. Filipino people expected that under his administration, the spirit of cooperation will be maintained, and the work of political emancipation will be complete. Contrary, however, to our expectation, his conduct of the government has been characterized by a trend of usurpation and arbitrary acts, resulting in the curtailment of our autonomy, the destruction of our constitutional system, and the reversal of American Philippine policy. American flag symbolize emblem of freedom, not subjugation. Symbol of altruism, not selfishness. Philippines and America promise to conserve and develop our countries for the benefit of the people. The Filipinos were patient and diligent about the task of meeting the condition given to them because they trusted the Americans. Calvin Coolidge, the President of the United States of America, advised Congress to keep their promise now that the goal has been met. Major General Leonard Wood was appointed Governor General of the Philippines. Expectation. Filipinos expected the spirit of cooperation to be maintained in light of General Wood's participation in the liberation of Cuba. Political emancipation will be complete. Reality. There was a wave of usurpation and arbitrary behavior. As a result, our autonomy has been reduced and our constitutional system has been destroyed. Reversal of American policy in the Philippines. First, he has refused his assent to laws which were the most wholesome and necessary for the public good. He also set at naught both the legal authority and responsibility for the Philippine heads of departments. He also substituted his constitutional advisors for a group of military attaches without legal standing in the government and not responsible to the people. He has reversed the policy of Filipinizing the service of the government by appointing Americans even when Filipinos of proven capacity were available. He has obstructed the carrying out the national economic policy duly adopted by legislature, merely because they are in conflict with his personal views. Plus, he has rendered merely perfunctory the power of the legislature to pass the annual appropriation law by reviving items in the law of preceding year, after vetoing the corresponding items of the current Appropriation Act in flagrant violation of the organic law. He has made appointments to positions and authorized the payment of salaries. Therefore, after having vetoed the appropriation of such salaries, he has used certain public funds to grant additional compensation to public officials in clear violation of law. He has arrogated unto himself the right of exercising the power granted by law to the emergency board after abolishing said board to the ground that its power involved an unlawful delegation of legislative authority. He has refused to obtain advice of the Senate in making appointments where such advice is required to the Organic Act. He has refused to submit to the Senate appointment for vacancies occurring during the recess of legislature in contravention of the Organic Act. He has continued in office nominees whose appointments had been rejected by the Senate. He has usurped legislative powers by imposing conditions on legislative measures approved by him. He has, in the administration of affairs in Mindanao, brought about a condition which has given the resettled discord and dissension between certain groups of Christian and Mohammedan Filipinos. He has, by his policies, created strained relations between resident Americans and Filipinos. He has endeavored, on the pretext of getting the government out of business, to dispose of all the companies capitalized by the government worth many millions of the people's money to powerful interests. He has sanctioned the campaign of indigenous propaganda in the United States against the Filipino people and their aspirations. He has attempted to close the Philippine National Bank, so necessary to the economic development of the country. He has adopted the practice of intervening in and controlling directly, to its minute details, the affairs of the Philippine government, both insular and local, in violation of self-government. He has insistently sought the amendment of our land laws approved by the Congress of the United States, which amendments would open up the resources of our country to exploitation by predatory interests. The protest. In the face of the critical situation, we, the constitutional representatives of the Filipino people, met to deliberate upon the present difficulties existing in the government of the Philippine Islands and to determine how best to preserve the supremacy and majesty of the laws and to safeguard the rights and liberties of our people, having faith in the sense of justice of the people of the United States and inspired by patriotic example in the early days of their history, do hereby in our behalf and in the name of Filipino people solemnly and publicly make known our most vigorous protest against the arbitrary acts and usurpations of the current Governor-General of the Philippine Islands, particularly against Executive Order Number 37. Thank you for listening.